Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Amir's podcast. I'm your host, Amir. Thanks for being here with me. Today, I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine for almost 20 some years now.
Long time.
Long time. I have someone who has impacted our city like no one else. Mayor Rick Baker. I've had the honor to know him and be part of his campaign when he started. Remember, we met at the Paisanos Pizza the very first time? Yes.
My son danced to Who Let the Dogs Out?
Yeah, and at that time, I met you through actually our mutual friend, Michael Van Bussel.
Michael Van Bussel, yep.
So I told Michael, I said, one of the best people that you ever introduced me to was Mayor Rick Baker. It was a great honor, and you've been a great, loyal friend ever since.
Back at you.
I really mean it.
It's been a good relationship, good friendship.
Well, absolutely, because I look at back St. Petersburg, what St. Pete was and what St. Pete is today. If it was not because of your commitment to the city and your vision, and that's a word I like to use, vision. Not everybody has a vision, and a lot of people have plans. So many people can have plans.
Or hopes.
Hopes, but
Hope is not a plan.
Exactly. Having a vision to see what you could do, and then implement your vision into reality and turn St. Petersburg to what it is now.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful, the growth is unbelievable, the real estate is fantastic, the business has been growing ever since you touched it. Thank you.
It's really become a very special place. You know, I have this expression I use with the people that we work together with. You were one of those during that period of time, that you're blessed in life if you get to live in a special time, and you are blessed if you get to live in a special place. But it's an incredible blessing when you get to live in a special place in a special time. And I think that's what we had. It was the most transformative time in our city's history. It was truly the commencement of the Renaissance of St. Petersburg, and that Renaissance continues today.
Oh, absolutely. And everybody knows that. To this day, I know it's bad that I say this, to this day, you're the only mayor that I always call my mayor. You know that.
Well, I consider that an honor.
No, I really appreciate it. I don't even know who the mayor is. That sounds very bad. When you don't know who your mayor is, that's bad. That's not responsible on my part. Is their fault as far as I'm concerned, because if they don't make the impact that I could feel it, then, because when you were the mayor, you could see the growth every second. We saw the excitement, I remember we used to get together at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning at Howard Ross's office when you were holding meetings for the campaign. You were able to boil everybody's blood, make everybody excited, and I was one of them. I remember we used to gather all the students, hold signs on the side of the streets, and wear the T-shirt.
You provided the army for that campaign.
No, it was definitely a great honor, and thanks to you. I remember the very first rally you had, the big one that Jeb Bush came.
Yes.
And to endorse you, and it was right after the election when George Bush won the election.
All the recounts. And
remember all the recounts that were blaming Jeb Bush? I remember you told me, Amir, we need some extra security.
Yep,
and that's when I met Governor Jeb Bush, and I was able and honored that I was given that task that night, and it was a great beginning.
Over at USF.
Yes, it was at USF, and it was a very, very nice event. I remember. I still have the video of that.
It was. Do you really? I may want that someday.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I think both Jeb and I look a lot younger back then.
You look fantastic. As Steve said earlier when he saw you, he said, "Are you getting taller every time I see you?"
I tell you, people keep trying to pound me down, but I'm not going to shrink. I'm going to just keep standing tall.
I remember we were at the Battle of Tampa Bay, and again, another thing that people need to understand, when I say loyalty, you're the true meaning and definition of loyalty, because you have proven it to me personally. You know many friends, you have many people in your life that you know, but I was one of the people that, came across here, and then it's never been a time you don't answer my phone. It's never been a time you don't answer my text, my message. You've been in every Battle of Tampa Bay ever since.
Right.
You have shown us a lot of, but there's a funny memory that I have from the Battle of Tampa Bay, talking about how tall you are, how short I am, so it makes a funny combination. The photographer took a picture of you and I was not in it. And then I complained. He took a picture of me. You were not in it. So we finally had to talk to him. Okay, step back, maybe fix your lens so you could get both of us. So finally got the picture.
My wife and I went to the first. Well, went to the inauguration for George H.W. Bush when he became president, and they always have a ball at the they have many balls, but you get to go to one of the balls, and we went to a ball. We were there with some friends, and so when you first come, they take a picture of all of you, and that's kind of the momentum of the occasion, and so they lined up the four of us, and they took the picture of us, and they had 3 beautiful pictures of my friends and my neck down. They cut off my head in the picture.
That's
and that's the risk of being 6'7". That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
We have I believe you know Jason, the police officer.
Oh yeah, I know him well. He's my height. Yeah.
He's your height, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little stronger than I am. Though,
I remember Jason. It was a shootout. They took a drug house down, and if he was not because of his height, because he got shot in the butt, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
And the bullet would have gone to his chest. Anybody else would have been dead. But thank God he was tall enough that when the bullet hit, it went right to his butt. But
he's a great police officer.
Absolutely, he's getting ready to retire soon.
Years go by.
It's hard to believe. Yeah, time goes.
He was a young pup when I was mayor with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been a long time. So I want to thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. I know you're so busy, and right now you're working out of town. You're a consultant.
I am. I'm doing a number of things. I'm a partner in a group in Winter Haven right now, which is we actually own, the company owns half of downtown Winter Haven. And they brought me over. They liked what we did to redevelop downtown St. Pete, which worked out pretty well. And they wanted me to use some of the same principles and try to help them rebuild that downtown. And we've been at it for about 7 years now, and I think I'm a couple of years away from it being really a cool downtown. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time over Winter Haven now.
So a lot of projects and a lot of buildings and a lot of
different things. One of the first things I did was we brought the farmers market to downtown St. Pete, and now that's the largest in the southeast United States. We did the Beach Drive. Beach Drive was really a centerpiece for the redevelopment of downtown, and so now I brought a farmers market to Winter Haven, and I've done a 2-block sidewalk cafe district over in Winter Haven. I brought the first hotel built in downtown Winter Haven in 100 years. Wow. And I'm on my 4th apartment complex in downtown Winter Haven. You have to have people who live in downtown. You have to have places for them to visit. And I just brought a university downtown. Southeastern University just brought a campus into downtown Winter Haven. So we're doing a lot we're building a parking garage, we're renovating some old buildings, doing some office buildings. So it's going to be a very vibrant, active downtown. Give me about 2 more years. Give us about 2 more years, and it'll be that way.
That's amazing. 7 years already. Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
I think it was like almost yesterday you told me that you're going over there and you're going to start. And Christy Bacabella spoke very highly. I mean, Christy told me that she's been there several times.
She has.
She's seen a lot of
she was a refugee during the hurricane. She stayed at the hotel we built downtown. Yeah. So yeah, that's great lady.
That's fantastic. Now, before you ran for the office in St. Petersburg, I remember you were a partner at Fisher & Souls.
I was. Good memory.
You one of the. I remember that because I remember one of your partners. He was my attorney for a short time, Mr.
Capusta.
No, it was another. I forgot his name. He used to smoke all the time, and
wow.
Maybe he came in after you left. I don't know.
Maybe I don't. Yeah,
he was the heaviest smoker, and but I remember that law firm. Do they still exist, or
they merged into another from Battaglia Ross? So the folks that were still at Fisher & Souls, most of them I think merged into the Battaglia Ross firm. So
the Howard Ross.
Yeah, Howard Ross, same firm. Yeah, they're now together with that firm now.
Is Howard doing okay?
Howard's doing good. I just had coffee with him recently, and he's doing good. He's doing good.
He was an interesting.
I don't think he's practicing as much as he once did but time goes on.
We're all getting older.
We're all getting a little bit older and want to relax a little more, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you don't know what relax is.
I did. Yeah, I practiced mostly business acquisitions, mergers and acquisitions, things like that when I was a lawyer. And it was very complicated, very interesting stuff. I represented Franklin Templeton, Templeton, which is now Franklin Templeton, and I represented Cox Lumber Company, which is now Tibbetts Lumber Company, and so that did their acquisitions all over the state and a lot of medical stuff. So yeah, it was an interesting
You
part of
also
life.
did a lot of work with assemblers, is that right?
No, I did. I would
As a
bump into
mayor.
them from time to, as mayor, yeah.
As a mayor.
Well, they always helped me in my campaigns. Mel
Yeah.
Sembler, Ambassador Sembler, and Brent and Greg. They all were very helpful in my campaigns. I just saw them recently. So,
I think they're the greatest family.
they're a great family.
I got to tell you a
Great family.
funny story. You got to love this. So my mother-in-law was coming to the United States, so the immigration assigned her to go to Italy. And at that time, Mr. Sembler was the ambassador.
Yes. That was during the George W. Bush.
Yes.
Yes.
So remember we were at Fazil's house doing a fundraising. You were there. I think it was a fundraising for Charlie Crist when he was a Republican running for governor.
Right.
And Mike Allstott was there, and you were there. Everybody was there. I met a gentleman. He was a Marine. He was a family. He was I think a family of one of the Semblers, or Mr. Mel Sembler. Anyway, to make this story short, I went all the way to Italy, and we went to the embassy with my mother-in-law. We were missing a document. No, we went all the way. I mean, she came all the way from Iran. I came all the way from the United States. And when I went to the window to talk to the gentleman, and he looked so familiar to me, and we knew they're gonna deny our case because of one document we were missing. And the guy says, "You look so familiar." I said, "You look very familiar too." I said, "I've met you before. Weren't you at a fundraising event at Fazil's house somewhere in Florida in St. Petersburg?" He says, "Yes." "Were you there?" I said, "Yes, I was there." The conversation, he was a Marine. And I said, "Well, I thank you for your service. Put it this way." He says, he put a seal on the visa, and he didn't even ask. He says, "I know that you guys meant well, and I know this document is important, but the fact that you have come all the way here, and she has come all the way here, so it's good to know people."
Yeah,
and he did the right thing, you know.
Well, and he does it not because he knows you, but because he knows that because of how he knows you, he can trust you. And,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That's what's most
It was
important.
it was not that he was doing me a favor in a way that would not be appropriate.
Right.
It
right.
was more like because he knew it came from the right place.
Right.
You know, he
Right.
knew that my mother-in-law, you know, she was older and she was coming to see her daughter, be with us, and basically it was like an old. They needed a certificate of her divorce, or not divorce. Her husband passed away. They needed a death certificate, translated in English, which we didn't have. We had it in Farsi. So it was. They were able to. Anyway, I remember that was. The funniest story because you get to meet so many people, all of a sudden you come across them, and then they help you out.
That
Anyway,
happens all the time.
I've known you for a long time, Mayor Baker, and I know that, you know, pretty much I know where you stand politically. You know, I mean, we pretty much are very similar in many of our beliefs. That's why we always support each other. But as you know, what's going on in Iran, in my homeland, where I was born in Iran and raised in Iran, and you know, over 50,000 people dead right now by the Ayatollahs.
It's awful.
It's just this regime is dictatorship has been supporting terrorism for the last 50 years, almost 50 years, and they supported Hezbollah, they supported Jihad. I mean, you name it. They supported every terrorist, Hamas. Every major terrorist organization was funded and supported by this government. In my opinion, we finally have a president. He's putting his foot down and is not going to put up with this because we know we saw what happened with Obama administration. You know, no disrespect to the president, but you know, when you give billions of dollars back to the
You know, you
Iranian
have to
regime,
understand human nature, even when you're in a big position and when you're dealing with big things like, you know, countries and peace and war and all that. But you kind of have to understand basic human conduct and basic human incentives and what incentivizes people, right? And I read Richard Nixon was a prolific writer. He after he was president, he was probably one of the most brilliant international minds that we've ever had. And he's written a lot. He wrote a lot of books. And he talks about like the Soviets, and they're not Soviets anymore, but they still are kind of. And he talks about them, and he says the only thing they respect is strength. That's all they respect. They don't. If if you try to make a deal with them and you try to appease them, they don't respect that. They're just going to take more and take more and take more. They will only respond to strength. And I think Iran is the same situation. You know, when we just give them billions of dollars and say, please don't be bad anymore, and then they just use that money to fund Hezbollah and Hamas and all the other terrorists and organizations trying to destroy Israel and the United States. They're using our own money to try to destroy us, and so that is not a wise way of going forward. You have to show them strength. I think when you have dictatorships, that's really all they listen to.
That's the only language they understand.
It's the only language they understand.
You gotta kill fire with fire, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, I'm not pro-violence. I'm not suggesting that we should put boots on the ground. But I look at it this way: we are at the point that this is not a military action anymore. This is more like a rescue mission, because we have over 86 million Iranians being hostage right now, being held as a hostage by the Iranian government, because they don't want them. They don't want the Ayatollahs. You have to understand, Ayatollahs are not Persians. They're not Persians. I mean, they're Arabs. Iranians are not Muslims by nature, by culture, by tradition. I mean, it was something that was forced upon us, and they took Iran. The Ayatollahs took Iran back to 7th century. Pretty much they want to run the country and rule the country based on those values and those principles that was 1,500 years old. And that is something that people cannot accept anymore. Iran is a very young nation. I mean, Iranians are very educated. They're very resilient people, and they're very well aware of the global,
well, they also have shown an immense amount of courage, to come out into these protests and to be killed in such large amounts, and yet still come back out. It's a lot of people. Look at China. Of course, China, really oppressed their people, and when they try to protest, and it's people. Something about the desire for freedom. I think we're born with, and no matter what culture, what part of the world, you're born with a desire to be free and to be able to have a say-so in your life. And I was just so amazed at the Iranian people, knowing what a brutal regime this is, for them to go out, risk their lives, and in many, many, many cases lost their lives in this effort.
And this is the worst. This is the worst uprising we've ever had. This is more like, not more like, this is a revolution. This is not just another rally. This is not another protest. This is a true revolution of people. So many mothers are waiting by the door, waiting for the kids to come home, and they never did. Yeah. And when they wanted to go get their dead bodies, they were asking for the money. They were asking them for money to pay for the bullets that killed their kids. Yeah. I mean, the tragedy is just out of this world.
But what they've done is they've created martyrs. That's what happens when you try to oppress people. You create martyrs, and that lives for a long time.
So what do you think about Donald Trump's strategy right now? I mean, we know that we're pretty much surrounding the whole entire area right now.
Well, he's got 2 aircraft carrier groups. That's pretty serious. So it's. I think and of course, everybody sees what he just did in Venezuela. And so I think that. I think he's. I don't know where he's going. I don't think anybody knows where he's going. I'm not sure he knows exactly where he's going, because he's got to wait to see what happens. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's. I think he's dead serious. He typically does not move 2 aircraft carrier groups into an area without intending to do something.
And I hope so, because a lot of Iranians are looking at him right now. Everybody. They're asking for help. I mean, we understand our destinies in our own hand. We understand that the people, the revolution and fighting for freedom has to be within, but we have no weapons. The people they don't have the guns. The Ayatollahs and the Revolutionary Guards that have the guns, and they don't hesitate to shoot and kill.
Right.
So we're at the point that we are looking at, foreign countries like United States, the country that stands for true freedom. I mean, look at my life. I mean, I came here in 1985. Truly, I love this country and what this country has given me, the opportunity to have a business, to have the freedom. And I want to see the same thing for my people in Iran. And I think right now, the only hope they have right now is United States. They really do. I mean, they're looking at that. I mean, it might be too much to expect, but they're looking at when Donald Trump, President Trump went on TV and said, "You guys go ahead and protest. You guys go ahead and fight back. You're not alone. We're going to be with you." And I believe in him. I really do believe. I know it's taking some time, but again, this is not a video game. We've talked about this many times. Going against a country as large as as large as Iran is a little bit different than different strategy than Venezuela.
Well, and Venezuela's not a small place either, but it's the strategy that he's deployed. If you look at the strategy he deployed in Venezuela, and we don't know if it's worked yet. It's looking pretty good, but we have a sufficient military that you can go and pretty much conquer most nations in the world, but he didn't do that. He went out and took the poison out of the top of the government in Venezuela, who had been indicted by the federal government on criminal charges, and so he could go take them legally and take them out, which he did, and then brought them back, and then they approached the folks that were still in charge, and a lot of people didn't like that because it's still the same regime, but it's a regime that is now educated and as to what consequences could happen if they continue in the path that they were in, and it seems to be working so far. We'll see how the long run how that works out, but without losing any American lives in that operation, without having to try to rebuild. The old Colin Powell, you recall very well.
Yes.
You break it, you own it, and the lessons of Iraq, I think, are lessons that people think about a lot, and they think about, okay, you can go, and the lesson, just look at Libya and all the other countries, right? When you can take out the regime, but there's a big difference between doing that and then running the country and returning it to democracy or bringing it to a democracy, and what does it take to do that? And I don't think there's a lot of appetite in the United States to do that again, like it was done in Iraq. So how do you do that? How do you make the disruption, make the change, and at the same time not wind up just having a 10-year, 20-year war that goes on and on and on and on with guerrillas forever, right? And look at Afghanistan, you look at Iraq, and people don't want to repeat that again. So I think that's probably, I think Venezuela, the way Trump approached Venezuela was the result of that lesson, I think. And I don't know, I don't really know what his plan is for, I don't think really, I think a very small group of people probably know, but even if they have a definitive plan, they clearly are serious about the threat of force and the use of force if need be, or they wouldn't have two carrier groups in the Gulf right now. So
yeah, that's what I believe.
but I don't know what that means. I don't know what,
Yeah.
Is it an operation like we just saw in Venezuela? I don't believe he has any intention of having American boots on the ground in Iran. I don't, and I don't know how that would work out.
You're correct. I mean, of course, we're in different times right now. I mean, Iraq War was quite some time ago. The technology has changed tremendously, and the strategy has changed. And you learn, as you said, we've learned a big lesson. What not to do and what to do. I think Donald Trump is a lot smarter than what people give him credit.
I think he's really smart.
Yes. So I just hope that that somehow, some way, they find. I just don't think this negotiation is going to work. Iranian people, Iranian government, not people, Iranian government, they don't understand negotiations.
No, I don't. Yeah. It's like the Russians are kind of the same way. I don't think you can trust them. I don't think you can you can trust them. So I don't know what it looks like and how it. I don't know. I don't know how.
You just have to wait.
But I do believe. I tell you, I believe in Donald. I don't believe Donald Trump is a very smart guy. I think Marco Rubio is a very smart guy.
Oh, he's amazing.
And I know Marco. It's been a long time since I know him. He's kind of gone into a different place since then. But he is. I think number one, he's very sincere. He's got a strong character, and I think he's He's smart as a whip. If you watched his speech in Munich the other day, I don't know if you saw that, but
Yes.
that will be talked about for decades to come. That was a brilliant repositioning of the United States relationship with Europe, and it was needed. It was needed, I think, and Europe needs to kind of learn a little bit from the new country and kind of go back to some of their basic values that they've been slipping away from over the past number of years. So I think Marco really that reset he did with that speech in Munich was brilliant. So that I have confidence in the people that Trump surrounds himself with, and,
Yes.
and I think Vance is a smart guy. But Marco's probably my favorite. You know, I know
Absolutely.
Pam Bondi. I like Pam. I ran Pam Bondi's campaign for Attorney General in Florida
Yeah.
when she ran, and you were involved in that. And I like Pam. And she's got a all of them have really tough jobs.
Oh, we have a
I
great
mean,
team over there.
it's a
I'm
good
telling you.
team, but I think Marco of the team, I think he's head above the rest.
We're
So
looking at, mark my word, we're looking at the future president of the United States. That's what I see.
I think it's going to, I think there'll be some shuffling between Vance and Rubio on that. My personal preference is Marco Rubio. I just think
Absolutely.
he's got a depth of knowledge and character and understanding.
He understands foreign policy better than anybody else. So.
And yeah, he's just I think he's and so I have some comfort level. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with those two carrier groups over there, and I don't think anybody does. But I think that's the balance that they're looking at. The balance of we don't want to get into another Iraq type engagement or Afghanistan type engagement. The Venezuela approach seemed to work a lot better. Hopefully, we'll know. Time will tell. But something short of dragging us into another, multi-trillion-dollar 10-year war, 20-year war. That I don't think so. I don't think the country's got the appetite for that.
And Donald Trump, he's not a war president type.
He
of
is
person,
not. He's a
you know.
peace guy.
Yeah,
He's been. And of course he gets no credit because he's a Republican and because he's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But the peace initiatives that he has instituted. He talks about the Nobel Peace Prize. I would just say I don't want the Nobel Peace Prize.
No.
What do you? He's done. He doesn't need that.
No, he doesn't.
And for them to not consider him after all he's done for peace around the world, I wouldn't even talk about it. I'd talk about just keep doing what he's doing. And everybody, people watching this, they know Donald Trump he's not a perfect man. He says some things sometimes, and
Who
he
is?
does some things.
Nobody's
and some
perfect.
things,
I remember George Bush. I think he's one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life, George Bush. But a lot of people hated him because he made some wrong choices.
we had 200 people protesting at Baywalk. You remember when I was mayor against George Bush?
Absolutely.
Because it's almost. There is a and there are a lot of people that protest sincerely. There's also a cottage industry of protesters around the country that are connected together, and they just go from one issue to the other issue and protest. So,
and another reason I think I'm a kind of person when I meet people, I get a better feeling for them, and whether. Sometimes you have politicians, you don't know them personally. I had the honor of meeting Donald Trump when he came here to support Governor DeSantis. It was several years back when Governor DeSantis was running the first time. And, when you look at somebody in the eye and shake their hand, and truly Donald Trump is a much, much, much better person than people think he is. Much, much more different and sincere. I saw that in his eyes, and it was a short meeting, and I was able to sit down in his rally and listen to him talk. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it, and that's why I supported him. I know a lot of people are not going to like hearing that, but I could care less.
I've heard that I've never met Donald Trump, but I've heard it from a lot of people that have met him that have had a similar response. Even a lot of Democrats that have met with him and talked with him personally and had a similar response to him. Unfortunately, we've gotten into this politics by divide in our country that you kind of just I think Donald Trump does stuff that if Obama had done, then people the Democrats would be in favor of it. But because it's Trump, they got to be against it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's great. I mean, how can you not be for sealing the border? I mean, how can you not be for sealing the border? That's insane. And how can you not be, for bringing peace between the Hamas and Israel? And how
Well,
can you
they
not
close
be
their
for-
eyes to reality because if you look at the numbers of the people that immigrants that what's his name, Obama kicked out of the United States and deported, was by far greater than the number of
It was.
people that Donald Trump has deported. And same thing with Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
So,
And I think one of the reasons for that is because they didn't have a sealed border. So you don't have to kick out as many if you seal the borders because they're not coming in under Donald Trump. Now he's having to remove, especially some of the really hardened criminals, murderers and rapists. He's having to, and others that were pretty much open door allowed in by Biden. So that's kind of where all the controversy is now. But again, we just have people that are they're gonna go after no matter what. Like Elon Musk. I mean, Elon Musk, what a brilliant guy. He goes in for no money to try to make the government more efficient and get the corruption out of it. We have tremendous corruption in our government and money, doled out to these groups that don't do anything. And look what's going on in Minnesota, that kind of thing. I don't think that's an exception. I think that's quite common. And so Elon Musk is really hitting it, and he's hitting the people that are essentially stealing money from the government. So what do? They start burning his Teslas all over the country, and they try to destroy his company and all that. And so he does kind of back away from that after that because he's but that's unfortunately that's where we are. Unfortunately, that's where we are.
This is the way the world is now, unfortunately. So, anyway. I cannot thank you enough, my friends, for being here with me. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for accepting my
Can I talk about one last thing real quick?
Oh, absolutely. A couple of things before we go. Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you remember, about 8 months ago, I put an editorial in the paper for the Trop site. And my feeling is, clearly baseball are not going to be here anymore. I think that's fine. I'm not sure what they did for us, to be honest with you. I mean, I went to baseball games. I liked it. But in terms of the cost of that, it was $700 million of real estate taxes that the team was asking for from the city residents over the next 30 years. That's just too much. That's just too much. I don't think we get enough for that. And so as they're looking at the different proposals, one thing I am pushing for hard is a very major park in the heart of that site. It's an 86-acre site. I don't know if you've ever been to Boston and seen Boston Commons, but it's one of the most. It's like Central Park in New York, except it's a magnificent park. It's the anchor of all of downtown Boston, and I really think that as we have grown so much downtown and built so many buildings and towers, and that it's got to be a very busy place, and I'm okay with that. But I think we could use some more green space on the west side of downtown, which we have really none of right now. And so I'm suggesting a 30-acre. What I call St. Pete Commons Park in the heart of that 86-acre site, and then build buildings all around it and development, that sort of stuff. And I've put that out as a plan and got a lot of support for it. People kind of like the idea of, we need more. St. Pete, our downtown was founded based on our green space. It was quite an effort in the early 1900s to build that waterfront park system that we have now. Imagine what we would be if we didn't have that. It's just we take it for granted, but imagine what we'd be if we didn't have it. So I'm thinking, well, now that we've probably added 20,000 people live in downtown, we ought to build another major green space facility on the west side of downtown. Whatever else happens, that still leaves 56 acres of the 86 acres.
You think they will do that?
I think there's a chance. Clearly, Mayor Welch doesn't want to do it, but. The city council members just voted to essentially decline all 8 proposals that he was bringing forward, and so I think there's a lot of interest in the council for something like this. So we'll see.
You think you're going to run for the office again?
What's that?
Are you going to run for the office again?
No, I'm not going to. I now have grandkids, and I'm doing what I'm doing in Winter Haven, and I'm doing other things. I'm enjoying my life a lot. You know, I may support somebody that is running for mayor as we go forward, but it would have to be somebody that's going to be a listener.
But I can assure you, your name, your legacy, your reputation is running the city right now,
Well,
and it will for a long time.
well, as long as it's, I think it just needs to be run with the values that came with our city. You know, this city was it was built with the Midwest kind of traditional values and with a big emphasis on park systems and green space and family gatherings and stuff like that. And I think that's important. I think that's important for our city to have going
Maybe
forward.
I should just run for the mayor and have you support me, and I do everything you tell me to do.
Well,
I love the city.
I know you do. I know you do. Well, well, maybe between the two of us, we'll at least, if not you don't do it, we'll find somebody that can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't have to do what I say, but it'd be nice to just be able to have somebody that will listen every once in a while and at least get an audience.
It takes a very special person to run for the office, you know, in my opinion, because, you know, your life changes. Everything just under microscope is hard to
Upside
do.
down, upside
You
down.
know, I've been asked before about this kind of stuff, and I say, you know what, that's not something that I have the desire to do, but I love to support the right people. Like I've always, as you know me, I like to support any good ideas. So anything that you put your hand on it, you could count on me.
Yeah, I appreciate that
You
a
know,
lot. I
I'm a
appreciate
loyal
that a lot.
friend, and
You have been for a
not
long
basically
time.
because of your friends, it's because I've seen your work and I've seen the result.
Yeah,
So, sir, it was a great honor to have you, my friend.
it's always a pleasure,
Hey,
my friend.
don't forget May 9th, the Battle of Tampa Bay.
Battle of Tampa Bay.
Yes, we have England versus United States for the world title. I'd like to see you put that belt around our American fighter.
We'll do that. Well, I'm gonna. I'll probably bring my son. My son. You remember my kids,
Yes,
right?
of course.
Well, Julianne, my daughter, now lives in Winter Haven with her husband. They've just adopted a couple of boys, brothers, and they're doing great. And my son is going to get married this year, so
Wow, congratulations.
got a lot going on. But he's a big UFC fan, and I'm gonna,
should bring him to the fight.
I'm going to bring him to the fight.
It's hard for me to believe that your kids are that big. Just remember, because I remember they were so little, and you used to bring them to different events.
They were 4 and 5 when I first ran.
Oh my God!
They're now 29 and 30. I hate to say that because that means I'm getting a little older too. But it's true.
No, you look fantastic. Knock on wood, you look fantastic. Please give my love to your family. Say
I'll
hello
do
to
it.
your wife for me. And thank you guys for tuning in. Please go on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And until then, we love you. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.